Hi, I'm Jerry Bailey with Dynamic Literacy. Foundations is 2 levels worth of material that focuses exclusively on prefixes and suffixes. Students will attach them to Anglo-Saxon words that they already know, so they can focus on how the meaning or the spelling or the part of speech is changed when they add that particular piece to that word. Everything I tell you from this point forward can be found in our excellent teacher's editions. We start with a little book called Foundations 1 Basics. This helps students make the transition from units of sound to units of meaning. They've studied phonics so they can sound out words. Now they need to start reading to learn instead of just learning to read. And in order to do that, they need to focus on meaning. So we start with something they already know, compound words. And we have some fun little activities where they're going to build compound words from pictures. They're going to take them apart. They're going to do various things with them, all to get them used to the idea that words have meaning, words are portable, but their meaning goes with them. So I can build catfish and I can build fish pond. But a cat is still a cat, a fish is still a fish, and a pond is still a pond. The meanings of those words remains constant. After they've played with compound words for a few days, we're going to ease them into the idea of prefixes and suffixes by having them focus on some words that they already know, like the word paint. We're going to have them look at this activity and answer all these little questions, fill in these blanks. So they're going to build words that they already know, like painter, painting, paints, painted. And what they're doing is adding prefixes and suffixes without really knowing that's what they're doing. Part of the way you use this activity is when they're finished, you have them go back and circle all the parts that aren't the word paint. And now they're identifying those prefixes and suffixes. So we'll do that with about 10 different words, as you can see from the index on the back here. And they'll start seeing these patterns over and over again and seeing these same units of meaning. So hopefully they're starting to get the idea that maybe those little pieces mean something. And in fact, they do. So now they're ready to actually dive into the regular student activity book and start focusing on 1 unit of meaning at a time for an entire week. So this is the Level 1 student activity book. And the first prefix in here is over. Very simple. Every one of these activities is designed to take 15 minutes or less. And that's very important. And there'll be some times when maybe they aren't finished and you'll stop, and I'll tell you why as we go forward. So the first activity is called a prefix square. Okay? In the center box is the prefix over, and at the top it says what it means, above or too much. And then surrounding that are 8 other words that they already know. So you're going to start by reviewing those words to make sure that they already know them. You're going to talk about what over means, and then you're going to say, now I want you to write over in front of each of those words and make a new word and write down what you think it means now. So you can lead them through that process by saying, all right, we have this word overripe. So what do we mean when we say that a banana is overripe? Well, they're going to say something like it's too ripe. So it's ripened too much. So that's really what over means. And that's the idea. You want to get them talking about that. On day 2, students are going to build some words using over, and they're going to have to then write sentences that tell you they know what they mean. All right, this activity you'll see is 2 pages. They're not going to finish it in 10 minutes. It's very important that you don't make them finish it in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. All that matters is whether or not they get it. And they may be able to do 3 of these and demonstrate to you that they understand how over is modifying these words, because that's the point. Not that they know these 10 words, but that they know when they put the prefix over in front of any word, it modifies it in a certain way. So in this activity, you're going to tell them, all right, so look at number 1 here. Load means to put into. So they're going to write overload means, and hopefully they'll say something like to put too much into. And then you'll say, now use it in a sentence. So if they write, I saw Johnny overload his backpack, that doesn't tell me what it means. Did he set it on fire? I don't know. We had 3 sons. That was a possibility. But if he says, I saw Johnny overload his backpack and now he can't pick it up, Well, that must tell you that he put too much in it. That's the kind of sentence that we want your kids to write. At the end of that time, though, make sure you stop. And if they've done 3 of them or they've done 5 of them and they get it, that's fine. If you think they need more practice, you can come back to it the next day, but that's usually not necessary. On day 3, there's another activity called a magic square. And with a magic square, they're going to do a simple matching activity. So they're going to look at words on the left side and definitions in a column on the right and try to match those up. They're then going to write the answers in the boxes down here. So they'll write the numbers for each answer in these boxes. If they get them all right, every row and every column will add up to the same number. And that's the magic number. So it gives them a little extra challenge, and it also gives them a way to check their work. On day 4, you'll find a word search activity. This is the only activity in here that you can just give them and say, here, go do this. And it's in here mainly because most kids really like these. If your kids don't like it, skip it. Don't do it. We found that students with dyslexia of varying levels, much to our surprise, really seem to like these activities. We have a lot of those students using these materials. This is one that they really like, which surprised me. On the 5th day, there's another activity called a comprehension booster. And this is one of those seemingly simple fill-in-the-blank activities. I say seemingly simple because, well, there might be more than one word that fits in a lot of these sentences. This is a great activity if you're doing this with more than one student. If you're doing it with a group of students, you want to have that conversation as they start to go through here. And let's see. Even with a wool blank, Marcia felt the icy wind blowing. Well, that one's probably an overcoat, but maybe somebody can come up with another word that fits in there. And that's the conversation you want to have. If they do all 10 of these, they're going to find that there's a best fit for each word. Okay? So that's day 5. Remember, 15 minutes or less. Some of these are only going to take 7 or 8 minutes to do. Every 6 weeks, so every group of 6 prefixes or suffixes, there's a test or an assessment, if you prefer the kinder and gentler word. And you'll find those in the teacher book. They're 1 page, and the answer key is in the teacher book as well, and some guidance about how to give tests and what they mean and how they work. You'll find all of that is right here. There's the test, and on the back side of that page is the answer key. If your kids have been paying attention at all, they'll get all of these right. If they haven't been paying attention, make them pay attention. So that's it in a nutshell. That's how Foundations works. There's actually a comprehensive assessment of the entire book, the entire year, and you can give them that before you start, which is kind of fun. Put it in the drawer. They won't do very well on it. At the end of the year, give them that comprehensive assessment again. They'll pull it out and you'll say, wow, look how much you all have learned. Critical parts to using Foundations. 15 minutes a day or less. Don't go over that. It's not fun, it's not interesting. If you go over that, it just becomes work. It's just vocabulary work. We don't want to do that. We want kids to have fun with it. We want them to want to come back and do it the next day. So that's really the most important part, is to keep it fun, keep it interesting, encourage those sidebars, those conversations that go off the tracks, supposedly, about language. They're not going off the tracks. They're exactly what we want. Have fun, and thanks for listening.